Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 9, Episode 7, overall 447 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, as well as their great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac products. And you can also call the dealership at 519-824-0210 or email them at info@barrycullen.com. Speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership right now, this week they are doing a fundraiser for the Guelph Food Bank. It's I have it on my ticker here, so I will promote it after the show's done. But right now, I'm excited to have my guest on. Before we bring on our guest, which I'm excited to have on today, Live with CDP Sports Talk is on weeknights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern on radio station WQE 99.1 FM, the home of Southern Talk and Sports. I'm excited to announce our guest today. This is her first appearance on our show. Her name is Karen Randell. She's the Executive Director for Food for Life in the Hamilton Halton region, and it is a leading food rescue group, and it impacts lives across Halton region in the city of Hamilton. And they began this food bank in 1995 as well. So we're going to bring Karen on, and we're going to talk about Food for Life and how it started out and some of the challenges. Good afternoon, Karen. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, Chris. How are you?
I am doing well. I can't believe it's already Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. I'm not sure. Can you still hear me, Karen?
Yeah, you just froze there for a second.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I was just saying how I can't believe it's already Tuesday, October 29th, 2024, how this year is just flying by.
Yeah, it feels like the summer was only a month long and the fall is even faster for sure.
Absolutely. And Karen, before we get into some questions, I was just reading up about Ontario right now from Feed Ontario. I guess 1 million people living in the province of Ontario have turned to food banks over the last 12 months, starting in the spring of 2023. That's a lot of people. And I don't think in my 52 years alive, I've seen the demand for food banks as greater as has been now.
Absolutely. Feed Ontario put out in September, which was Hunger Action Month, a report that in the previous year, there were over 1 million visits made to emergency food banks throughout Ontario, which is an absolute crisis, I would say. And yesterday, Food Banks Canada released their hunger report that indicated there's 2 million visits being made to food banks every month by Canadians. So I think that, food insecurity throughout Halton and Hamilton, throughout the province, as well as nationally, has really just become a crisis that is continuing to grow.
And I guess the cost, people losing their jobs, the cost of living keeps increasing, and the demand for food. And that's why I was happy to have you come on here today to tell us a little bit about yourself and Food for Life, which was founded, I believe, in 1995 for the city of Hamilton and the Halton region.
Yes, so Food for Life, we are coming up on our 30th anniversary, which is next year in 2025.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Food for Life was established as a very small operation in Oakville, collecting some leftover bread and other food items from local bakeries and food providers, and has grown into being the largest food rescue hub in all of Halton and Hamilton, rescuing close to 5 million pounds of food every single year. So a lot of growth over the past 30 years, but unfortunately, a lot of growth in the number of households experiencing food insecurity in our community.
What are currently some of the biggest needs that your group are looking for in terms of donations and help?
Yeah, so Food for Life focuses our efforts on the food rescue side of things. So our priority is really fresh foods and frozen items such as meats and proteins, really focusing in on those grocery items that typically cost more, that can sometimes be prohibitive for households to buy when they need to purchase food. So we currently we're providing food supports to over 100 programs throughout Halton and Hamilton, all of which support households in different ways. Some of them give a full few days worth of food for their families. Some are more supplementary to provide that extra healthy element that maybe can't be purchased directly. But really, our focus is trying to make sure that the food that we provide is good and nutritious and helps keep people who are experiencing food insecurity healthy.
And I wanted to ask you this as well. How do you go about it with the farmers, I guess? How important have the
Yeah.
farmers been to your operation?
Yeah, our farm donors are absolutely vital to our operation. We receive food donations through our local farmers. We receive donations through our local grocery store distribution chains, as well as food industry. Um, and all of them are vital. In the summer months, we're so incredibly privileged to having such generous farm donors in Halton region who some of whom grow specific areas of their crops to donate to Food for Life, many of whom were their first call when they've harvested a surplus of crops that they're not able to sell, end of season items that haven't been sold, and so we're really grateful for the farm support, but also we receive food from over 100 different food donors in Halton and Hamilton, and all of them really do play such an important role in meeting the need that's currently in the community.
Wanted to ask you, what is I know the whole year is busy, but
Mhm.
where is the greatest demand for food during the season? Is it through October, Thanksgiving, or Christmas, the holiday seasons?
Well, I would say the unfortunate reality is the demand remains pretty consistent throughout the year. I've worked in the food security sector for about 12 years. And when I started, there were certainly peak times throughout the year. The summer was busiest in programs because parents who relied on school nutrition programs are now having to find additional food resources for their kids. Back to school when there's additional household pressures to buy things to get their kids ready back to school. And of course, the holidays. Those days, I think, unfortunately, are behind us, and we find that access to our programs remains consistent every day that they're operating. There doesn't seem to be those same times where there's increased access. I would say that hunger is a pretty prevalent issue every day of the year.
Do you feel our government, both federally, provincial, and the local municipalities, are doing enough to help get the price of groceries? Because if you go to grocery stores, to these big chain ones, they just keep going up and up and up every few months.
Yeah, it's certainly challenging when you see increasing food costs. It definitely has impacted households in ways that we haven't seen in the past. Programs are supporting a lot more families that have two incomes that still can't make their grocery bills work. Um, I would say that food insecurity is a really complex issue that stretches far beyond the price of food. There's issues related to housing, issues related to general cost of living, income inequalities. So there's there's so many different pressures that exist in people's worlds. I think it's important to recognize that while grocery prices are certainly adding to the state, it's not necessarily the root cause. The food insecurity has been an issue that Ontarians have faced for a very long time.
Currently, how many full-time employees do you have at Food for Life, and how many volunteers do you have? And who for I'm going to reword this. Who's ever watching this live stream or on audio or on my radio station WQEE 99.1 FM, somebody wants to get involved with Food for Life, what's the best way of doing it, and for volunteering as well as online donations?
Yeah. So currently, Food for Life has 18 full-time employees who do phenomenal work. For those who don't work in the food industry, understanding the scale of what 5 million pounds of food looks like, but it's significant. So we have a very hardworking, dedicated staff team. We also currently have a phenomenal team of volunteers. Food for Life has over 1,000 active volunteers who engage with us in many different ways every year. So if you are interested in supporting Food for Life as a volunteer, I would strongly encourage you to go to our website where there's information about different volunteer roles that are available. All of the food that comes into our warehouse is inspected to ensure that it's quality and edible, as well as packed for the specific programs. And we rely on a lot of volunteer power to do that work. We also run a lot of our own markets and programs that we rely on volunteers to support, and have other volunteer opportunities through events and other initiatives. So there's always room for more volunteers at Food for Life, and we only can make the we make because of our volunteers. So if you're interested in giving of your time, please reach out through our website, foodforlife.ca. And as always, we really do appreciate any financial support people can give us to help keeping our operations going. And again, foodforlife.ca, and you can go on and find a place to make a financial donation. And we're also always looking for new food rescue donors. So if you have surplus good food that you think might be appropriate for distribution, programs for people experiencing food insecurity, again, foodforlife.ca is the place to go to get information on how you can best help us out.
And for our audience, Karen, can you just quickly explain to the word good food in terms?
Yeah, so good food has a number of different things that we mean when we use that term. First and foremost, we want to make sure that food is edible and appropriate to put out into our programs. Because we focus on food rescue, we want to ensure that we're not receiving donations or distributing food that's nearing the end or at the end of its lifespan. We want to make sure food is still able to be eaten. And that is the same quality of food that someone would get if they visited a grocery store. A lot of the food donations that we receive are what we would consider first run, as opposed to end of life food. So food we receive from our farm donors, from grocery store distribution centers, and from other food industry partners. We'll often get things that are identified as surplus before they even go out into the food system, or we'll receive donations of items that have damaged packaging, items that have been rebranded and so they're no longer selling the packaging that they have in stock, so we'll receive those donations. But it is really important to us that the food that goes into all of our programs matches what someone would receive if they were going to a grocery store and purchasing the food. The secondary piece of good food is really about trying to ensure people facing food insecurity have access to nutritious food that's going to help keep them healthy and that's going to impact them in a positive way. We know that food insecurity can often impact not only someone's physical health, but their mental health. And so ensuring that there's quality food available helps support people's health when they're accessing our programs. And the third piece, really around good food, speaks to food equity. So ensuring that people have access to the food that they need, that people don't have to compromise their dietary, their ethical, their cultural or religious food needs because they're food insecure. We really want to ensure that the appropriate foods are going out to the programs that meet the needs of all communities who are experiencing food insecurity.
Karen, one thing I've never understood in a grocery store, and I'm trying to eat healthier myself, is why is food that's bad for you cheaper than food that's good for you? Wouldn't it make sense to have the healthier food at a more reasonable price than the foods that are not so good for your body?
Yeah, I actually don't know why that is, but I will say with absolute certainty that we do know that the food that we provide to people is often out of reach in terms of their grocery budgets, if they even have a grocery budget that month, which is why we try to prioritize the fresh produce, fruits. We provide dairy, eggs, and proteins to help people maintain that nutritional health when they come to our programs, because you're absolutely right. If you are working on a very tight budget, if you have kids to feed, if you have lunches to make, there are a lot of unhealthy options that will stretch your budget a lot further than buying healthy things. That, if you can get 4 apples for the same price as you can get, a loaf of white bread and peanut butter and jam to make peanut butter and jam sandwiches, we have to really be mindful of that. So it is unfortunate, but it's one of the things that I think makes our programs really impactful, is that we do prioritize those nutritionally rich items to ensure that people have continued access to them.
Can you tell us about shrinking food waste as well?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So Food for Life really does like to talk about having a dual purpose as an organization. So not only are we addressing food insecurity within Halton and Hamilton, but the work we're doing has a significant environmental impact. So we're really trying to find innovative ways to reduce the food waste that comes not only from the food industry, but from Food for Life directly. So, obviously, by using food rescue items to support people experiencing food insecurity, we make a significant impact. The food we rescue diverted, I believe, 6 million kilograms of greenhouse gases last year alone. So, we know that we are making a difference. We also look at new ways of ensuring food that cannot be put out into our programs are not going to landfill. And one of our programs that I love to talk about is a fairly newly established partnership we have with some of our farmers in the community, wherein when food is deemed not edible for human consumption, I have learned that doesn't mean it's not appropriate for livestock consumption. So we have some great partners in the farming industry, one in particular that we deliver food to. And then that individual has about 12 other farmers that comes and pick up. So we don't have to drive around. We kind of drop it off at one location, and she does the brokering with the farming community. But that food can be used to increase the nutritional content of livestock feed, especially at times like this time of year when fields are pretty picked over and there's not as much nutrients in what the animals are eating. It can really be offset with the nutrients that comes from the food that we're providing them. And other farmers who utilize that food to turn into compost to turn over their fields. So we really try to have that full circle approach to environmental impact, and are always looking at new and interesting ways that we can still utilize food when it's not appropriate for humans. And we've seen a lot of success in that, and it's driven our food waste down significantly to be working alongside the farming community in that way.
Hey, Karen, when a family or individual comes to you, is there like a screening process? How does that work?
Yeah, so Food for Life really approaches all of its program delivery with low barrier um, in mind. So trying to reduce the barriers that exist when people who are experiencing food insecurity are trying to access food. One of them being means testing or income testing, or having to qualify for our services. We strongly believe that someone showing up and saying, I need help, is all they need to qualify. We do access some information regarding someone's name and their address, and that's simply so that they can start to use our appointment system, where they can book an appointment to our program so they're not showing up and waiting in line. They know what time to come and they can come into our program and access. Um, Accessing things through a low barrier mindset is really vitally important to us. So we also look at how we can support some of the more vulnerable more vulnerable people in our communities and bring food to them. So we have several different programs wherein we bring food to seniors buildings, for example, and run weekly food market pop-ups. So once a week, seniors who are living with low income, who require food supports, just have to come down to their common area and they can do a shop. And in that shop, they'll get fresh items, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, eggs, dairy, and protein, and get a pretty good amount of food, but they don't have to worry about transportation or getting public transportation with bags of groceries. All of these things we know that can be deterrents in accessing food programs. We try to eliminate those so that people can access food in an easy way.
How many drivers and trucks do you have? And where's your office or Food for Life located if somebody needs to come and get help for foods and stuff, groceries?
Yeah, so if someone is in need of food support, I'm going to once again direct them to our website, foodforlife.ca, where we have a list of the programs that are running in Halton and in Hamilton so that people can find programs that are close to them. They can also call our office and talk to one of our staff about where they might access food. And the number is, I'm going to try to remember, 905 635 1106. Those are the two easiest ways of seeing where the closest program you can access for food support is. We currently have 4 flat trucks and a van that we use to both pick up food donations and deliver them to our community partners. And our trucks are on the road 5 days a week from 6 a.m. until 2 p.m., picking up and delivering food all across Halton and Hamilton.
What's an average day like at Food for Life, being the executive director? And Karen, can you tell us how you ended up involved with Food for Life?
Yeah, for sure. I think that I could not possibly think of 2 days that have been even close to similar. So I don't know that there is an average day. Um, but I think one of the things I will say is that I have the absolute privilege of coming to work every day and working with an incredibly committed group of people who are all very sincere in their desire to address food insecurity in a meaningful way. And so I would say that is the most typical, is the level of commitment and the level of passion everyone who works at this organization has for the work that's taking place. That it's really inspiring, especially when you hear reports of how many visits are happening in the food insecurity world and that the need just continues to grow. It can seem very insurmountable. But working alongside a group of individuals who are all committed to doing whatever we can every single day to try to make someone's day or financial pressures a little lighter is really phenomenal, and something that I look forward to when I come into the office. Um, I have worked in the food security world for about 12 years. I started a position about 12 years ago at an organization that ran a food bank, and that was my first real experience in food insecurity. And in that, I was connected to an entire network of people, locally as well as provincially and nationally, and learned a lot about food insecurity and how we can best address the needs of people who don't have the ability to buy the food that they need to feed themselves and their family. And I would say last summer, an opportunity came up at Food for Life, and having worked with the team in my previous role and having gotten to know the scope of the work, the passion for the work, and the mindset of everyone who works here, and also the approach to addressing food insecurity, I just jumped at the opportunity to be considered for this role and was just so pleased that I was selected to lead such an incredible organization. But food insecurity has been something I'm incredibly passionate about for more than a decade. And you know, despite what we're seeing in the world in terms of the continued growth and need, it really is an important organization and important work that's happening.
Thoughts on the support you get from the mayor of Hamilton, Burlington? I've had Mayor Maid Ward on my show a year ago,
Mhm.
and then the mayors of Oakville and Milton. And you must serve a lot of. Do you have exact numbers that you serve every year with your Food for Life?
Yeah, so we are currently supporting over 100 programs and food access points. So like I said, all of our different programs are quite unique in terms of where they're located. You know, we have fresh food fridges that are there as a complement to other social service agencies. So we know that people who are looking for work may also be experiencing food insecurity. So we have a fridge at Goodwill, for example. We have a fridge at an infant food bank to support families who are accessing. We have larger markets. We run a market here. We have several markets throughout Halton and Hamilton. We have those seniors pop-ups, but in all, our food goes out to over 101 food access points throughout Halton and Hamilton. And the food we rescue is currently being distributed to over 4,000 households every week. So the numbers are significant, and like we've been talking about, they continue to grow, but we continue to seek out new food donation opportunities so that we can continue to stand ready to meet that need.
Thoughts on the local businesses in the area that have
Oh.
supported you, and if there's somebody out there watching that has a business and they want to get involved with Food for Life, what's the best way of contacting you?
Yeah, we have an incredible network of support in Halton and Hamilton. A lot of businesses, a lot of not only food industry businesses, but corporate teams who want to lend their support to Food for Life. We have, like I was mentioning earlier, we sort and pack all of our food. So we have corporate teams come through here and help us with packs as part of their team experiences or team building days and activities. I would say for anybody who wants to become involved and support Food for Life, it's really about finding what kind of activity would be most meaningful for you and the team that you're working alongside. Is it executing a food drive? Is it coming in to support one of our pack days? And is it coming together and providing a monetary donation? We have teams that do like challenges, interdepartmental challenges to raise funds for Food for Life. So we really encourage people to find what's meaningful for them in terms of support, but also call or connect with us if you want to become involved and you're not sure how. So there's lots of different ways to support Food for Life, and supporting Food for Life is impacting over 4,000 households every single week. So it really does matter.
And Karen, I want to say congratulations on Food for Life is a 5-star top 100 charity on the Charity and Intelligence website. That must be really satisfying to see that.
Yeah, again, it goes back to that sense of pride I have to be a part of such a phenomenal organization. It's not surprising Food for Life does offer such incredible support, has such a dignified approach to food security, and really does want to meet people where they are at and try to make access to food as easy as possible. So to see that work being recognized by Charity Intelligence is incredibly gratifying.
And if it's okay, may I play a video clip from your YouTube channel? And Food for Life has a YouTube channel. I've subscribed. Please subscribe as well. And we'll play the video now. Karen, since it doesn't have any audio other than background music, maybe after the video's over for our audio audience, if you could just tell us a little bit about this video that's
Yeah,
on foodforlife.ca
sure.
website.
Thanks.
Please let me know if you can hear the audio okay.
I will.
Give me 1 second and we'll see if we can get this going. And this again, everyone, is courtesy of Food for Life's YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe and like notification. Thank you so much, Karen, for this video.
Yeah, thank you.
And this was your warehouse tour from a couple years ago, I believe.
Yeah, and actually we have an updated version of that video. We just haven't posted it yet. So I will let you know when that gets posted up to our YouTube channel. But obviously from the masks, that was Food for Life during COVID. It's a much busier place because we do have our markets running on site. We also have a lot of our agency partners who come and pick up food, and we have a lot of activity happening in the warehouse. It's strange to see it in those times before I was here, and I know it is an incredibly busy, active space. So, but the one thing I think is really important to note in that video is just the incredible amount of fresh and frozen storage space we have. So we are able to take large donations, pallets at a time, of fresh and frozen food. So if people think this donation is probably too big, I don't know what to do with it, don't hesitate to reach out to us because we most likely can take it. We're connected to so many different people in the food security space that we'll make sure it gets shared and utilized by the people who need it the most.
So somebody does have a donation they can give to you, but let's say they can't get to you. Do you have trucks and vehicles that can pick up those donations?
Absolutely. So we would make the effort to get out and pick it up. I would say the majority of our food donations are picked up by our drivers and brought back to the warehouse for sorting, storage, and then redistributed into the community.
How challenging was it running Food for Life during those 2 years of the pandemic? I know I hate talking about those 2 years, but it did really affect a lot of our lives those two
Yeah.
years.
I wasn't at Food for Life during the pandemic, but I was working at an emergency food hub. So I will speak to the fact that I think it was incredibly challenging to try to find ways to not scale back supports. That was always a fear, was having to not provide people with the food they need. And so being really creative and finding new and innovative ways of getting the food out to the people who need it the most. It was certainly a period of time driven by partnerships and collaboration and who can do which piece. And it's very nice that we're once again in a place where access isn't restricted and people can get to programs and we can deliver in a much different way. But I think, I remember during those, especially the first 6 months, the fear was, are we going to be able to keep doing this? Are we going to get shut down? Is everybody going to have COVID at the same time and we can't help people? So I think a lot of sectors have those fears, but one thing I was always really impressed by, and having known the team at Food for Life during that time as well, was how creative people were and the determination to continue the good work in the community, and to not say this is getting too hard. So yeah, it was a challenging time, and little did we know the real challenge to the food security sector would be after COVID, when we were seeing unprecedented need in the community, when we were seeing unprecedented inflation, the rise in the cost of groceries, the rise in the cost of housing, all those things that came after COVID. I think we thought COVID might have been the hard part, but certainly the last 2 years have been very challenging as well.
One thing I wanted to bring up with you too, as well, is going to grocery stores. The newest term is called shrinkflation, where things are the same or more money and you get less sizes. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think we've all had times where we're picking up a bottle of something or a pack of something and it seems a bit smaller. So I have not heard the term shrinkflation, so that's a new one for me. But I think we're all sort of recognizing that those basic necessities of life are costing us more.
And Food for Life was founded in 1995. You're coming
Yeah.
on your 30th anniversary. Is there any upcoming anniversary plans coming in 2025?
Nothing that's enough along that I can share, but I'd be happy to share a few things if people wanted to support us. We have an incredibly generous donor who's going to supporting our Giving, Giving Tuesday efforts in November, by providing a 1 day match for any donations. So if you want to follow Food for Life on our social media platforms, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I'm not on very many social media platforms, so I always forget. As well, our holiday campaign will be starting up in December. Obviously, the holidays is an important time to be supporting any emergency food initiatives. And Food for Life will be doing the coldest night of the year in North Burlington in 2025. So I would strongly encourage people, if you are able to visit our website or visit our social medias, to like and follow us, to sign up for our e-newsletters and stay informed about the work. And hopefully we'll find a way that interests you and inspires you to become engaged with the work that we're doing.
The person or individuals who started this, are they still involved with Food for Life 30 years later?
I do not believe so.
Okay. But 30 years
I
ago,
don't know. Yeah, it
I,
was quite a
I,
while ago.
I just said to myself, Karen, 1995, and that was 30 years ago. I'm like, I'm dating myself. It's like, where is the time gone? Where is the
Yeah,
time gone?
yeah,
Do you have time for a couple more questions?
sure.
Okay, and you just told us about some of your upcoming events and fundraisers. They also can look for them on your website again, right?
Yeah,
Foodforlife.ca.
Yeah, I think probably the best way to stay informed and current is through our social media platform, but also on our website.
What are some fun facts about yourself and Food
Oh.
for Life?
um, well, I think one of the fun facts about Food for Life is how much the team here really enjoys one another and enjoys working together, and really enjoys spending time together outside of work, which is a really phenomenal experience to have as a leader when your team really truly does enjoy one another and wants to spend time together, not only at work, but outside of work. So that's something that I think is super fun about Food for Life. I think another fun fact about Food for Life is that it very quietly goes about doing this phenomenal work and doesn't do a very good job talking about the incredible reach and the incredible impact. So, trying to help the community better understand the phenomenal work that takes place as a result of this organization is something some, is something that we've been focusing on as well.
And I know, yeah, I know you said this earlier before we went live. You're a sports fan. Do
Yes.
you have a favorite sports team? And are you a Hamilton Tiger Cats fan too?
I am a Hamilton Tiger Cats fan. I grew up in Toronto, and I never got super into the CFL until I moved to Hamilton. And I think I went to my first game at Ivor Wynn, and then I was sold. I am a big sports fan. I like a lot of different sports, but there is no live sporting experience that even comes close to a Hamilton Ticats game. It is the most fun ticket in town, and just love being part of the community and just the stadium being right in the middle of the residential. Like it's just you can't beat it. So yeah, I am a big Ticats fan.
I'm a Toronto Argonauts fan, by the way.
Okay.
So we're rivals, but that's okay.
That's okay.
And Tim Hortons Field's great. Has how much of an impact have the Tiger Cats had on Food for Life and Simone Lawrence, who used to be a Tiger Cat, who's now retired. He's now their ambassador.
Yeah. Um, so it's a funny question because I had an incredible privilege of working with the Hamilton Tiger Cats quite closely in my previous role. So we've been able to maintain some of that contact. So, we work with First Ontario Credit Union here, and they have a really great relationship. So I was at a Ticats game a couple weeks ago and was got to hang out with Simone a little bit. He's such an incredible ambassador. So sincere in his desire to make Hamilton a better place for everybody and so committed to supporting the social safety net of the community. So it's always a fun opportunity to speak with him. And we really enjoy working with the Ticats.
Simone Lawrence, he's Hamilton's version of Mike Pinball Clements, who does
Yes,
a lot in Toronto with his Pinball
yes,
Foundation as well. And it's so
yes,
great, and that's why we love the CFL. Even if we are on rival teams, every
yes,
team in the CFL loves to help out. And I just interviewed a lady from Pure Later a week ago in
mm-hmm,
Toronto for their Tackle Hunger program,
yes,
delivering food and raising money for food banks across Canada. I think her name was Lucibel Tan, and it was a privilege to help out with the donation and to
yes,
interview her and just to learn about the food banks and how important it
yes.
is to give back.
Yeah. I don't think you need to be a fan of the Argos to be a fan of pinball. He is phenomenal. I had an opportunity to spend a day with him once and drove around visiting schools who were participating in the Krama Cruiser initiative that he spearheaded, as well as some different donors that he was involved with, and seeing how he engaged with people. Like if someone stopped him on the street, like he would stop and engage in a conversation. Just one of the most absolute genuine good people. It was a spectacular day, and I think we are better for having him. We're so happy he came to Canada and decided to stay up here.
Absolutely. And before we wrap this up, Karen, is there any shout outs you'd like to give to individuals and businesses currently?
Well, I said it before and I'll say it again. Shout out to the team at Food for Life. our staffing team, but as well as our volunteer team. I mean, you can't shout out to those folks enough, because the impact that I get to come on these shows and talk about would not be possible without them. So a huge shout out to those people and their ongoing commitment. And, you know, we have volunteers. Most of our building is refrigerated. So when people come here, they don't only volunteer, they volunteer in the freezing cold. And it's not something I would want to do. So we're just so fortunate and so grateful for the incredible support we have in the Halton and Hamilton community. So a shout out to everyone who makes a decision when they wake up to come out and help us. So thank you so much.
And I'm not sure if you had the pleasure of dealing with the Burlington Mayor, Marianne Mead Ward. Mm-hmm. Have you had dealings with her?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to meet her a few times, and I met with her this summer.
Yes, and she used to be with the Toronto Sun, and now I think she found her passion as the mayor of Burlington. And I had the pleasure of her having her on my show a year ago as well. And wanted to ask you this before we wrap this up. Grey Cup prediction. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Grey Cup pick. Who do you see winning the Grey Cup this year?
I have to say Winnipeg.
You're going with the Bombers, eh?
Like, yeah, I have to say yes. It would be them or the Argos, so I'm going to go with Winnipeg just because I'm a Ticats fan. So.
And Mike O'Shea, who's a University of Guelph alumni, played for the Tiger Cats, and Zach Collaros led the Hamilton to 2 Grey Cups in 2013 and 2014. It really is a small world because O'Shea is an Argos legend, and Collaros played for the Argonauts twice too.
Yep. No. Yep. It'll be a good game. It'll be a good game no matter who ends up in it, but that's my prediction.
Absolutely. And Karen, finally, again, where can my audience follow Food for Life on social media and your website? And what's the best way of contacting you if somebody wants to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so our website, foodforlife.ca. Our social media, I would just say look up Food for Life on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. And if you wanted to call, you're going to make me remember that number again, 905-635-1106.
And I have it on the ticker too, the Food for Life Canada office.
It's right there. I could have just read it.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, the Food for Life Canada office, and the number is 905-635-1106.
That's it.
And finally, we're going to wrap this up. What's your favorite thing about Halloween, since Halloween's coming up in a couple of days?
I mean, I think what I would have said a couple of years ago was seeing like my kids dressed up and going out, but now they're teenagers and they don't really do much for Halloween. But I really enjoy handing out candy and seeing little kids and their costumes coming to the door. So that's pretty fun. Though we have a pretty scary house. It's not my choice. I don't decorate it. So we get a lot of kids crying at the end of our driveway as well, which isn't great, but.
Well, Karen, I want to say thank you so much for giving us almost 50 minutes of your time today.
Thank you.
I want to say continue success as the executive director of Food for Life.
You.
And I'd be happy to help out with the donation. And you have an open invite to come back on my show again in the future. And if you can give me a little bit of time tonight, I will send you the video, the audio, and some reels and clips of this as well. And final thoughts before I wrap this up, Karen.
I just wanted to thank you so much. We were talking briefly before it started, and anytime somebody decides that they want to use their platform to talk about food insecurity, talk about the crisis we're seeing, and encourage people to get involved and help is so incredible. So thank you so much for prioritizing this as a topic and having such an engaged and open conversation about it.
Well, thank you so much. And what I love about my show is meeting guests, connecting with them, and the storytelling aspect and learning and how important it is to give back to your local food banks, whether you're in Hamilton, Burlington, Guelph in my case. Just consider helping out as a volunteer or donations and giving back, because everybody needs the help nowadays with the cost of living here in Canada.
Absolutely.
But Karen, again, it was a pleasure having you on our show today,
Yeah,
and continued success. And we'll definitely keep in touch on social media.
definitely. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you, Karen.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that concludes season 9, episode 7, overall 447 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by BarryCullen.com and on WQEE 99.1 FM. So I want to say thank you to Karen Randell, the executive director for Food for Life in the Hamilton, Burlington, Halton region as well. By the way, guys, one of my sponsors, this Halloween, Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership, my sponsor, will be scaring away hunger by collecting donations for the Guelph Food Bank, and we encourage you to do the same. Almost 24%, almost 24% of Guelph households are food insecure, and we must do our best to help. This event is inspired by me. This event is inspired by me, Therese. We Scare Hunger, an amazing program run through schools all over. So again, if you happen to be at Barry Cullen Chevrolet this week, they are taking donations for the Guelph Food Bank, and it's hard to believe that 24% of Guelph households are food insecure. I had no idea the numbers that were high, but I want to say thank you to Barry Cullen Chevrolet for doing this, scaring away hunger and collecting donations for the Guelph Food Bank. Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership is at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Please check out their website, barrycullen.com, or give them a call at 519-824-0210 or info@barrycullen.com is your email address. And again, Barry Cullen Chevrolet again is doing scaring away hunger, collecting donations this week for the Guelph Food Bank. Please consider helping out wherever you're watching this show. Please make a donation to your local food bank, or even consider volunteering your times in these tough economical times. A lot of people are turning to food banks for assistance as well. And you can check out Food for Life's website, foodforlife.ca, and they're also on Twitter and Instagram as well. And their head office, again, guys, the Food for Life Canada head office is at 2258 Mountainside Drive in Burlington, Ontario, and their phone number is 905-635-1106 as well. Guys, if you'd like to support small local businesses, check out Fluffy Glazed Donuts. That's Fluffy Glazed Donuts at 650 Scottsdale Road in Guelph, Ontario. 519-821-0056, or check out their website, fluffyglaze.com, or email them at team@fluffyglaze.com. So again, if you like donuts, and they have healthy donuts there too, and coffee as well, they're a local small business that's been in business now in Guelph in 8 months. Please help support their business run by Sharon and Mike. Fluffy Glazed Donuts at 650 Scottsdale Road in Guelph, just right across from Storrow Mall. And they do have coffee selections there and great donut selections. And they have donuts that have lower sugar in them as well. So please check out fluffyglaze.com or 650 Scottsdale Road here in Guelph. All right, guys, the next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by BarryCullen.com and on WQEE 99.1 FM, is going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, October 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern, with Matt Derry, the host of Locked On Lions podcast. Matt Derry is a longtime Detroit media personality, radio host. He's a huge Cleveland Guardians fan, involved with the Motor City Crews of the G League. And Matt hosts a weekly Locked On Lions podcast. So Matt Derry is going to come on, and we're going to talk about the 2024 Detroit Lions, who are 6-2, coming off a big 52-14 win over Tennessee. And Matt and I are going to break down the Lions-Titans game and preview their upcoming game at Lambeau Field this Sunday against their rivals, the Green Bay Packers, as well. So 10 a.m. tomorrow on Wednesday, October 30th, Matt Derry from Locked On Lions podcast will join Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. As always, guys, we're going to wrap this show up in a few minutes. If you're in the Guelph Cambridge, Kitchener-Waterloo area, and you're looking to adopt a pet, please check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number there, 519-623-7722. Dial extension 0 to get the office staff, and you can visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals up for adoption, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. You can also, if you're looking to volunteer like myself, you can fill out a volunteer application through their website. And they're also doing a monthly 50-50 draw through their website as well. And you can just go into click on events in their website and you can purchase a ticket there. All proceeds from the 50-50 go towards the programs at the Cambridge District Humane Society. And also, guys, in the next little while, very soon, the 2025 Cambridge Humane Society calendars are coming out. They're only $10, and I will be selling a few of them as well. So please look for those coming up in the next week or two. And again, Cambridge District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. And they have some wonderful pets up for adoption there as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is hosted by Chris Palme. That's yours truly, is on weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, the home of Southern sports in talk, the heartbeat of Atlanta. Our radio station's website is wqeefm.radio12345.com. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. You can also check out my website at beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. All my social media sites and my digital media work and previous radio shows are on beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Gulf Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, a great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac products, or call the dealership at 519-824-0210, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. And you know what, guys? I just had my car serviced yesterday. Want to give a shout out to the mechanic at Barry Cullen Chevrolet and my service advisor, Greg Smith. Brandon, I believe, was the mechanic, and Jim Zettel. All the people down at Barry Cullen Chevrolet do a great job, especially the service consultants. So shout out to Brandon, the mechanic who worked on my car, and Greg Smith as well. And if you're looking for winter tires and you check out barrycullen.com or drop by the dealership right now. Is always family owned and operated here in Guelph since 1969. Live with CDP t-shirts are coming soon. They will be priced at $20, and I am going to get them in sizes medium, large, extra large, double extra large, and even a couple of triple extra larges as well. So if you're interested in supporting my show, please consider purchasing a shirt. $20. If you're out of town, it'll be $20 plus shipping costs as well. I am a content creator, guys. As you know, I'm on TikTok at Live with CDP, and I want to say thank you to my 2,500 followers. I never thought when I joined TikTok 4 years ago, I would have 2,500 followers on my TikTok page. So really appreciate the support. And I do try to put out very good content on TikTok. So if you haven't followed me yet on TikTok, add Live with CDP and hit that follow notification as well. StreamYard is the official live streaming provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the Argo Bounce Live Audio Show, and the Small Talk Podcast. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. And if you're a business that does a lot of webinars or live streaming, StreamYard.com, and contact your sales department for business prices as well. And I've been a proud customer of StreamYard for the last 4 years. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment podcast. The audio version is available on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. And on YouTube Music and Good Pods, please hit that subscribe and like notification, as well as the rest of those platforms, including Spotify. And I want to say thank you to my 472 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I've just hit 255,000 views. So thank you to everyone for subscribing and viewing my YouTube channel as well. Finally, you guys can email Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpome19@gmail.com. And I'm also looking for more sponsors to come along. I want to say thank you to Barry Cullen Chevrolet for sponsoring the show the last 2 years, but I'm also looking for more businesses. If you're interested in coming aboard Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the Argo Bounce Live audio show, or the Small Talk podcast, please email me at cpome19@gmail.com or DM me directly, as I'm looking for more sponsorships for this show as well. And finally, before we wrap up this show, guys, we have Major League Baseball tonight at 8:08. It's going to be Game 4 tonight. The Los Angeles Dodgers are 1 game away from a World Series championship. This would be their second in 5 years and their first real World Championship since 1988, since the 2020 World Series was affected by the pandemic and the COVID, and they only played 60 games. So the Dodgers are looking for their first true championship since 1988 tonight. They're up 3-0 on the Yankees, and LA, man, they've dominated. The first game, they won 6-3 in 10 innings. The Yankees had a chance to take a 1-0 lead in the series, and Canadian Freddie Freeman, grand slam, really changed this series. 6-3 in the first game, and then the second game they won 4-2. And then last night's game, I know Verdugo had a 2-run home run for the Yankees in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, but that game was not as close as the score was. LA really dominated that game last night. It should have been more than 4-2. So the Dodgers, they're playing the best baseball. Dave Roberts gets criticized a lot. Well, Dave Roberts is going to win his second World Series ring in 5 years as the Dodgers manager. And this time, there's nobody that can say, hey, the Dodgers won it in a 60-game season. So Dave Roberts and the Dodgers organization, tremendous job. And Walker Buehler, coming off 2 Tommy John surgeries, looked like his old self last night. So everybody's talking about how bad the Yankees are playing. Well, let's give the Dodgers credit. I'm not a Dodgers fan, but Dave Roberts and Stan Kasten have done a great job with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And this team has a lot of stars and a lot of high-paid salaries, but you got guys like Tommy Edman, Chris Taylor, Max Muncy, Will Smith. It's truly a team effort. They have a lot of star players like Ohtani and Mookie Betts, but just a tremendous team and organization, and they've outplayed the Yankees in this World Series. So we'll see if the Yankees get swept for the first time in the World Series since 1976, when Sparky Anderson and the Cincinnati Reds swept the Yankees in 1976, 4-0. So first pitch tonight is 8:08, and I'm looking forward to it, and it could be the last Major League Baseball game of the year. And that's about it, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed my show today. Again, I want to say thank you to Karen Randell, the Executive Director for Food for Life out of Hamilton and Halton region, for coming on here today. And I hope you guys can tune in to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, Season 9, Episode 8, 4:48 tomorrow, Wednesday, October 30th at 10 a.m., a morning show with Matt Derry, Locked On Lions, and we're going to talk Detroit Lions football and how good this team is as well. So I hope everybody has a great rest of the afternoon, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another edition of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet and on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk, the heartbeat of Atlanta. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Matt Derry talking Detroit Lions football.